Welcome to NBA Today. Man, we had some great basketball this morning if you got up early enough to see it, but if you didn't, we have the highlights coming at you in just a second. Ramona, Shelburne, Marc Spears beaming in from Las Vegas. Malika Andrews all with you here for the next hour. My friends, Canada and Slovenia, they faced off in the World Cup this morning. This was an elimination game, and things got a little bit spicy, Ramona, so let's head there right now. This is Canada versus Slovenia, as we mentioned, which means SGA versus Luka Doncic. Let's get it started with Luka. Step back, and he gets it to go.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah, and he says, I know it. But then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander says, this is what I do. A little spin move, puts it on, gets the friendly bounce, and gets that one to fall. There was
at least three.
At least three. He just kept going. And then R.J. Barrett, an exclamation mark to end the first quarter. He had 24 points, 9 rebounds in this one. Let's go ahead to the second quarter here. Luka, I mean, speaking of spin moves, puts it on Dillon Brooks there. Game tied at 50 at the half. And then in the third quarter, SGA, he says, spin moves aren't the only thing I got. I can also take it coast to coast behind the back, go all the way to the cup for the layup. And then later in the third, I mean, Dillon Brooks, he's showing Rockets fans a little bit of what he got offensively, not just defensively.
Yeah, hitting those threes. That wasn't always the case. When you leave them wide open, there's usually a reason, but he's making them.
But he says, anything that you can do, Luka Doncic says, I can do just a little bit better. Luka hits that one. Then on the other end, back and forth we go. Shai has an answer of his own. By the way, Shai had a game-high 31 points, 10 rebounds in this one. I said Dillon Brooks showed a little bit of the good of what he can do for Houston. He also showed his range here. Now, he would, though, get called for taunting and then be ejected. Luka not so sad about that.
Talking?
I know.
Taunting?
That never happens. But it makes things a little bit fun. But then this also never happens. Luka, he wanted a call here, chats with the refs just a little bit too much. He would be ejected as well.
Haven't seen that ever either.
Canada gets the win by 11 points. Let's take a listen to Luka after the game.
I think everybody know what my frustration was. You know, playing for a national team, it's a lot of emotions. A lot of times I don't control myself, which I've been having problems with. But you know, the referee told one of the guys, we're not going to call a foul on him because he's coming at us. I think this is not fair. I know I complain a lot, but I don't think it's fair. They've been playing very physical with me, but if you say that, you know, it's not fair.
Some accountability, but also saying exactly what he thinks. So we had two of the top 3 scorers at this FIBA tournament going head-to-head here. You can see Luka Doncic leads all players at just over 26 points per game, while SGA, he brought his average to 25 points per game after a 31-point performance. Our Brian Windhorst has more.
Hey, Malika, man, what a spicy game here tonight between Canada and Slovenia. A whole bunch of great matchups, but really this was a story about Luka Doncic not being able to finish a game. Now, this is the second consecutive year that he has been ejected from his team's elimination game in a worldwide event. Last year, it was at the Eurobasket. He got ejected against Poland. Doesn't finish this game against Canada. And this is obviously something that has been an issue throughout the NBA season. He's had 17 technicals the last 2 years. He should have gotten suspended both times. He had him rescinded, technical rescinded each year, which kept him from a suspension. He didn't get a reprieve in this one. During the game, Malika, he was going over to the sideline and yelling in a different language at executives from FIBA. And you know, the thing about it is that this is a difficult situation because he is getting bumped. In this game, in the FIBA style of play, he is absolutely getting bumped. It was the Canadians' game plan to really get on him and physically push him around. And he was really good in scoring against it, but he wasn't able to handle his cool. And so I see his perspective, and I see why he's upset, but it is absolutely unacceptable the way he just continues to have this become an issue. And that was a big factor in this game. But beyond that, Dillon Brooks, this is why the Rockets gave him $80 million. The performance that he had in this game, going head-to-head, getting under Luka's skin, this was Dillon the villain at his best. Now, his coach, Jordi Fernandez, was not happy he got ejected, but he was thrilled with the way he played. And frankly, you trade Dillon Brooks for Luka Doncic and both getting ejected, that's a win for Canada. It was a win for Canada on the court, and Dillon Brooks did exactly what they needed him to do. And then I think we would be remiss if we didn't talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Bottom line, Shai was better than Luka in this game. Frankly, this was a big opportunity for Shai to make a statement on this stage. He delivered over 30 points, got to the line 16 times, 10 rebounds, made a whole bunch of great plays. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a first-team All-NBA player. He played like a first-team All-NBA player. He's a contender to win the MVP if the Canadians can win 2 more games. Okay, that's it from here in Manila. Back to you, Malika.
Well, it's not quite it. We're going to hear a little bit more from Brian Windhorst in just a little bit. But right now, back with Marc and Ramona, 2 of the best guards, I think it's fair to say, in the NBA going head-to-head in this one. Ramona, what was your takeaway as you look big picture here?
I mean, I think my takeaway is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of the best players in the NBA, and I cannot wait to see him playing meaningful basketball games with the Oklahoma City Thunder this year. I mean, this is the generation we thought was going to come of age for Team Canada, and they've been coming. They don't even have Jamal Murray, right? But the fact that this group of guys is here in the semifinals now, we've been waiting for this for some time. But to me, Shai is the story. He is all that and then some, and I want to see how far they go.
Of course, though, there's going to be plenty of discourse, Marc, about the ejections, particularly because they're both sort of microcosms of what we see from Luka and Dillon Brooks in the NBA. Let's focus on Dillon for now, though. Always it makes his presence known.
Dillon the Villain, that's a new one Brian threw out. I hadn't heard that one before, but yeah, but it's interesting to me, like, this dude's all the way in the Philippines and they're still booing him. I'm like, wow, the Philippine fans, they're going along with the NBA fans, man, and making him a villain. And look, he loves that. I think he loves the whole thing. But the one thing is this. Dillon's the villain, and Canada's going to be a villain for the United States now. Let's start giving them some respect.
Yep.
They are real. And keep in mind, there's no Jamal Murray. There's no Andrew Wiggins. When they do make it to the Olympics next year, perhaps they can convince those 2 guys to play. And, no, Canada, I've been waiting for this. Oh, Canada, they're finally here. They're a threat. They could be champs. But, you know, I still feel like when USA brings its varsity club, they'll still be too much for even the Canadians to beat.
I just love that video that we showed of Dillon Brooks that was done after the game with the boxing gloves on, getting a little pop, pop, pop going in there. Let's check in on some of the other action around the World Cup. We had another game this morning. It was Germany versus Latvia in this one. The winner will face the U.S. on Friday. Franz Wagner, he returned, led Germany with 16 points. Latvia had a chance to win, though, at the buzzer, Davis Bertans. But he couldn't quite get the 3 to fall. Germany hangs on 81-79 in that one. Tough one. So with that result, here's a semifinals bracket with 4 teams competing for the trophy. We have Serbia against Canada, and then Team USA going up against Germany, the only undefeated team in this tournament. Remember, both games, they are on Friday morning. Get up early on ESPN+. For more on the upcoming Germany-USA game, let's go back to Brian Windhorst.
Okay, Malika, so next up for Team USA is Germany. Now, 3 weeks ago, these 2 teams played back in Abu Dhabi, and the Germans were awesome in that game. They got up by 16 points in the second half, and frankly, I thought they got a little bit tight down the stretch and started thinking about what they were about to do, and it allowed the U.S. to play some great defense and come back on them. But I think that could help them going into the semifinal game because they know that they can play with the Americans. Now, the big thing for Germany, they've got really good size, just like Lithuania did. The Americans are going to have to get onto the boards. They have size in their starting lineup, and they bring Mo Wagner, an NBA player, off the bench. Now, something to watch. Dennis Schroeder, he will be able to handle the Americans' pressure. They do all kinds of different ball pressure that works against a lot of European teams that don't have strong guards. This team has a strong guard, but Schroeder was not good in this game today, so he's obviously going to have to rebound. He missed 22 shots, which was crazy. And one more thing to watch, Franz Wagner of the Orlando Magic. He came back from an ankle injury. He was very good in this game. Only got 8 shots. Schroeder got 26. I don't think we're going to see that against the Americans. We're going to see that get closer. The Americans are going to have to prioritize defending him. All right, that's it from here in Manila. Back to you guys in L.A.
Very good point, Brian. Thank you. Team USA, they had an off day Wednesday after their win against Italy, and they toured the American Military Cemetery in Manila, and they paid their respects to more than the 17,000 troops that are buried there. And beyond Arlington Cemetery, it's actually the largest cemetery of U.S. troops anywhere in the world.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.